You open your banking app 2 days after payday, and the number already looks smaller than it should. If you're earning a low or middle income and you feel stuck, this moment probably feels familiar. You made $2,200 this month, you wrote a budget, and you meant it. Then, a $96 utility bill hit early. Groceries ran $40 higher, and the plan cracked. So why does the right budget keep failing your real life? Most people say they budget. Far fewer say they can stick with it. When a system fails this often, it's not just willpower, it's design. And for people living on $1,500 to $3,500 a month, many popular budgets are designed for a life you're not living. This is Wealth Mentor Pro, where every lesson is a step closer to your freedom. If you're wondering why every budget you try seems to collapse, even when you're responsible, and what a simple broke budget can look like, we're going to build that together. You'll leave with a clearer reason this keeps happening and 3 small switches that can protect your next paycheck. A lot of budget advice is like planning a road trip with a perfect route and no extra fuel. The map looks clean, but the car is running on fumes. Imagine you bring home $2,200 after tax. Rent is $1,050. Utilities $160. Phone $60, and a $120 card minimum. Before food or transport, the month is already tight. A classic percentage budget can quietly assume you have hundreds left over. For many people, that leftover money just isn't real. Do this today. List the bills that must be paid before your next paycheck, not by the end of the month. Circle the ones that trigger late fees. If your budget ignores due dates and cash timing, one surprise can create overdrafts and weeks of stress. The question isn't whether you can budget. The question is whether your budget matches how your money actually arrives. The next issue is timing itself. Many videos assume money shows up once a month in a neat block, but a lot of people are paid weekly or bi-weekly, and hours can swing. That makes a monthly spreadsheet feel like guessing the weather 3 weeks out. When the numbers change, you shouldn't need a full new system. For example, if you're paid weekly and one check is $420 while the next is $310, a monthly plan will label you off track. Even when you're careful, your effort didn't fail. The format failed you. Do this today. Plan only the next 7 to 14 days using money you already have. Assign it to rent slices, essentials, and minimum debt. If you keep forcing a monthly template onto irregular pay, you end up feeling guilty for normal volatility, and guilt is one of the fastest ways to quit. The third issue is the missing cushion. Without a small buffer, any detour becomes a breakdown. Most advice says, save for emergencies, then moves on like that sentence created money. But when your savings is $0 to $60, every surprise becomes a budget killer. Imagine a $380 car repair. Without a buffer, you pay it with a credit card, skip a bill, or delay something important. With a small cushion, it's annoying, not catastrophic. I've blown a budget or two myself. Do this today. Set a first buffer target of $100. Not $10,000, just $100. Without a starter buffer, your budget is one flat tire away from becoming a debt plan. So why do budgets keep failing for so many low and middle income earners? Because many of them assume 3 things at once: extra money, stable months, and a working buffer. If your essentials already take most of your income, that assumption can be unrealistic. The problem is not that you can't handle money. The problem is that the plan was never built for your Tuesday. But here's what almost no one tells you. A broke budget doesn't try to control the whole month. It tries to protect the next paycheck. That single shift turns budgeting from a test you fail into a path you can actually walk. Quick check-in. What expense keeps ambushing your plan most often? Groceries, car costs, utilities, or debt minimums? Drop one word in the comments. Naming the real pressure point can make the next step feel lighter. We're going to use 3 switches: simple, low stress, and realistic. No fancy apps, no guilt rituals. We're aiming for calm control, not perfect performance. Rule 1. Budget by paycheck, not by month. This works because you plan with real money you already have, not imagined money you hope will survive the month. For example, if your bi-weekly check is $1,100, your plan should cover only what lands before the next $1,100 arrives. Write 4 lines. Bills due before next payday, food and transport for the next 14 days, minimum debt payments, and a tiny buffer line. Keep it visible. This makes the plan small enough to follow and flexible enough to adjust when your hours change. You are not failing a month. You are managing the next 2 weeks. Rule 2. Build a tiny buffer before chasing big goals. This matters because one small cushion turns chaos into inconvenience and reduces panic spending. For example, save $10 to $25 per paycheck until you reach $100, then $250, then $500. Treat it like a bill to your future self. If you can automate it, great. If you can't, move it manually on payday. The point is consistency, not heroics. A tiny buffer won't solve low wages, but it can break the cycle of constant emergencies. Rule 3. Use 4 simple buckets, not 20 perfect categories. This works because fewer decisions mean fewer chances to quit. For example, out of a $550 weekly paycheck, you might assign $220 to survival bills due before the next check, $180 to food and transport, $70 to minimum debt and fee shields, and $10 to buffer plus a small joy line. The buckets are simple. Bills before next payday, essentials for the next 7 to 14 days, minimum debt to prevent damage, and a small buffer with breathing room. A budget with zero relief often snaps. A budget with a small, honest relief line is more likely to survive. If this feels almost too simple, that's the point. Many videos on this topic quietly skip a harsh reality. When rent is high and income is tight, the wants category is already thin. The fix isn't a more complicated spreadsheet. It's a kinder plan that matches your cash flow. Let's return to that opening moment. 2 days after payday, you check your balance and feel that familiar drop in your chest. Here's a 1-minute ritual that makes these rules real. On every payday, set a 60-second timer. Open your notes. Write 3 lines. First, the bills that must be paid before the next paycheck. Second, the amount you need for food and transport for the next 7 to 14 days. Third, the tiny buffer number you're protecting, even if it's $10 today. Then stop. You're steering your money, not wrestling it. Over time, this creates quiet momentum. Fewer overdrafts, fewer late fees, fewer nights calculating on the edge of sleep. 1 calm week becomes 2, 2 becomes a season, and eventually you find yourself budgeting not to prove you're disciplined, but to protect your peace. This is Wealth Mentor Pro. If you felt stuck, underpaid, or tired of budgets that make you feel like the problem, remember this. The right plan is the one that helps you breathe first, then build. If this helped you feel a little more steady, you can like the video and subscribe for more calm, practical money guidance. And when you're ready, the next video waiting for you will help you keep this momentum going.